One, two, go ahead.
What is the biggest impact of missing school for a young person in Sheboygan?
So when I think about the impact on our young people in particular of missing school in our community, it impacts them in many ways. And when I talk with people about truancy, I always try and help them understand that skipping school, the physical act of not going to class, isn't really where the negative effects come. So if the student skips class at the schools that I work with, there's going to be school-based consequences, right? You'll meet with the principal, you'll probably have a meeting with your parent, you might be put in a group that works on truant behaviors. You might end up, of course, cited with the criminal act of truancy, which means you might appear in municipal court. But the actual negative impact of truancy is something that comes much later. And that's why it's so challenging to help young people understand why their choice today to skip school is such a horrible, horrible thing. They don't recognize the impact of that until 2, 3, 4 years later. So, for example, a student develops a pattern of skipping school. And it usually starts, end of middle school and then trickles into high school. And that pattern of skipping a class here and there snowballs into skipping half days, full days, weeks. And the ramifications of that, of course, are way later in life. The biggest negative impact of truancy for our young people is opportunity. You don't attend school, you don't graduate. Right? That's not rocket science. You can't get a high school diploma if you don't go to school. So you enter your adult life without that magic piece of paper that provides you with opportunity. It provides you with a myriad of job choices. It provides you with respect from other people, respect for yourself, for the achievement that you've accomplished. It offers you freedom. Right? The trust of your family, the trust of the community, and it just provides you with this thing called opportunity. Without opportunity in life, especially without the opportunity to have a job that can earn you a living wage, doors are closed, and you're forced to make choices to meet your day-to-day needs that aren't healthy, and don't lead to a life of happiness. So talking to students now about truancy and trying to help them understand that this simple act of skipping school today, yeah, there are consequences here right now, but the real place it's going to hit you is years down the road. And that's a hard thing to sell to, a 15, 16-year-old student who is living in the here and now and is just kind of, I don't really want to do school. I can't really think that far ahead or plan that far ahead. But then they come back to me after they turn 18 and say, why didn't I listen to you? This is hard. I can't get a decent job. And all these opportunities that I thought were going to come to me once I was an adult aren't there because I don't have a high school diploma.
What is the biggest turnaround that you have witnessed from a student who has been found to be truant?
I've been lucky because I've been doing this so long. 18 years with the school district, 6 years before that with Health and Human Services, that I've met a lot of young people who, for a variety of reasons, the light bulb went on and they realized, whoa, okay, this is not gonna work out the way I wanted it to work out. I can think of a young man who just graduated this past year with the class of 2018. I met him when he was a sophomore at one of my schools. And I met him, of course, because he was skipping school. Quite a bit of it, actually, weeks and weeks at a time. And we started out very, very simple. We put him in one of the groups that I do at school, and he learned a lot about how truancy can get in the way of self-respect and freedom and opportunity later in life. He also learned a little bit about himself and how important it is that young people have goals and are always kind of taking steps towards those goals. And in the long run, I think he learned most about his potential and how he had gifts and he had treasures that were unique to him. All of the students that I work with have gifts and treasures that are unique to them and make them a special person, and that can be turned into amazing things throughout their adult life. This student got that, and he started returning to school. Now, it's not like, hey, today I got it, woo, the light bulb went on, and tomorrow I started having perfect attendance. No, that's not how it works. It's a much slower progression. He started coming back just to a few classes, and eventually 2 whole days. And now, 2 years later, this past year, he graduated. And he not only graduated, but he is pursuing a career in the automotive business and received so many scholarships for one of our local colleges that he's pretty much getting a free ride for his entire post-high school education. So he's not going to have to pay for college, and he's going to leave that institution with a skill that is unique to him and will just set him on a great course for whatever the rest of his life brings him. And that's just one example. There have been many. It's not unusual for a truant student to come to a place where they realize, okay, this is not going to lead to the life I want. What little steps can I start making happen and become real now?
Do you feel truancy affects the community as a whole, and if so, how?
People often ask me, why are you working so hard to battle this beast called truancy? You know, at the end of the day, isn't it really a student's choice if they want to attend school? Isn't it really, you know, their prerogative if they want to have a high school diploma? And well, there's some truth to that. Not all truth, because it's a law in the state of Wisconsin that you must attend school until you're 18 years of age. The real reason that I fight so hard is because each student that skips school and ends up not graduating from high school is an adult now in the community that we as a community are obligated, I think, obligated to take care of and to make sure that they are safe, making good choices, able to support themselves, and truancy just robs adults of that. Because, as I said earlier, the number one thing it takes away is opportunity. So a student doesn't graduate, their jobs are very limited, and the jobs that are available to them are not going to pay what we call a living wage, which is basically enough money to, you know, rent a place to live, pay your basic bills, and provide food, clothing, and shelter for yourself or your family. So they're scrambling in our community trying to find a way to make enough money to do that. Because at the end of the day, most of us want those things in our lives or need those things in our lives. And when they find out that they can't provide for themselves or provide for others with the jobs that are open to them, the lack of opportunity, they do tend to try and figure out, how am I going to do this in other ways? And unfortunately, that leads to negative things in our community, right? It leads to criminal activity. It can lead to the need to rely on us as a community, on our resources and our services. And in general, that's not something that, as a community, you want, right? You want a neighborhood, you want a city that can keep things going, that are in a happy, healthy way for all of its residents. So it's really that, again, that lack of opportunity and the downslide that leads to. The more I think about it, and the more I put myself in the shoes of a now a young adult who can't get a job that pays a living wage, I feel that, I feel that tension, and I feel that frustration that I can't have the life that I wanted or that I dreamed of or that I even imagined for myself or my family. And just that stress, of course, is going to lead to things in my own functioning, right? Am I going to be more quick to anger? Am I going to be causing more stress in my relationships? And then that leads to all different things as well, right? It's this crazy snowball that impacts our entire community, impacts ourselves and our mental health and our daily functioning and our well-being, and it impacts our children, our spouse, our partners. It's just this crazy snowball that starts with this simple little act of skipping biology on Wednesdays. And that's really how simple it is. You start just, I don't like biology, I don't understand it, it's too hard, I'm just gonna skip biology on Wednesdays. And before you know that, there's this snowball effect, and you're 22 years old, you can't find a job that provides a living wage. You've got maybe a wife who's frustrated because even with her working and you working, you can't live your dreams, and now you're getting angry and you're fighting, and perhaps you're finding stress relief in chemicals or in other things that aren't healthy for you. Perhaps you're feeling the need to supplement your income by, I don't know, criminal acts, drugs, theft. It's just this crazy snowball that can start with just the simple act of skipping biology on Wednesdays.